The message arrived at 11:47 p.m., glowing on my phone like a tiny beacon of fate. One glance at the screen changed everything I thought I knew about my boss. It wasn't meant for me. Every word was soft, hopeful, deeply personal. Written by someone exhausted from being strong all the time. Standing alone in my small apartment in Ohio, snow tapping gently on the window, I felt something shift inside me. Fate doesn't always knock politely. Sometimes it slips through a crack and rewrites your life before you can stop it, before the story pulls you deeper. Take a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, or quiet miracles, pause, like the video, and share it with someone who needs hope. Leave a comment and subscribe. Stories like this survive because hearts like yours care. My name is Matthew Collins. I worked as a project coordinator for a mid-sized architecture firm in Columbus, Ohio. My boss, Rebecca Turner, was brilliant, disciplined, and emotionally untouchable. She carried herself as if she controlled time itself, never rushed, never late, always perfectly composed. Everyone admired her, feared her, and assumed her life was flawless. I thought I was just another employee, someone quiet, reliable, careful not to cross the invisible line between professional and personal. But that night, everything changed. Her accidental message wasn't loud, dramatic, or romantic in the Hollywood sense. It was a Christmas wish, written like a confession to the universe. Not the usual material desires, but longing for warmth she had lost. A quiet Christmas morning. Laughter that wasn't forced. Someone who would see her as a person, not as a title. She had carried too much alone for too long, and in that message, she let someone in, unintentionally me. Reading it, my chest felt heavy. I was entrusted with something fragile, something sacred, by accident. I didn't reply. I couldn't. I stayed at my phone until it went dark, thinking about how someone so powerful could sound so human, so vulnerable in ways no one noticed. The next morning, Rebecca returned to the office as if nothing happened. Crisp blazer, calm voice, perfectly professional. I told myself to forget it. It wasn't my place. But life rarely listens when your heart has already chosen to pay attention. 2 days later, she asked me to stay after a meeting. Her tone was neutral, but her eyes betrayed unease. She explained that she had sent something private by accident, and rather than pretend it didn't exist, she wanted to acknowledge it. She didn't dramatize, didn't apologize, just confirmed the message was real. And then she asked, calmly, quietly, if I could help make it real. Not as an employee following orders, but as a human responding to another human's quiet need. I hesitated. I wasn't rich. I wasn't powerful. I couldn't erase her past, couldn't fix her grief. Her husband had passed years ago, leaving her to bury herself in work, success becoming her shield. Doubt gnawed at me. Was I overstepping? Could this ruin my career or compromise my integrity? Yet something inside whispered, this wasn't about risk. It was about kindness, honesty, and being there when someone silently asked for help. I started small. I asked about her favorite Christmas traditions without prying, learning she loved baking, missed midnight services, and once volunteered at shelters before life hardened her schedule. I organized a small office charity drive, framing it as a team project so she could participate without pressure. Slowly, I saw her soften. Not dramatically, just small shifts that mattered, lingering smiles, shoulders relaxing, choosing presence over productivity. The snow fell heavier as Christmas approached, and so did emotions we never named. We spent time preparing donations, visiting local events, and sharing quiet moments that felt sacred without labels. There was no grand confession, no sudden declaration, just shared silence that carried warmth instead of emptiness. I struggled internally, caught between professionalism and a care that felt both risky and right. She struggled too, learning to accept help without feeling weak. And in those tiny, unnoticed moments, I realized the accidental message was no longer just a mistake. It was the start of something meaningful. Christmas Eve arrived with a kind of snow that muffles the world, softening everything it touches. We volunteered at a downtown Columbus shelter. The air was scented with pine and soup, the room filled with people carrying their own hidden griefs. Watching Rebecca serve meals, laugh gently with strangers, and bow her head in quiet prayer, I realized her Christmas wish was already coming true. She wasn't alone. She was seen. And in helping her, I healed parts of myself I didn't know were broken. That night, I returned to my apartment, expecting emptiness. But I felt full. My phone buzzed. A simple note of gratitude from Rebecca, thanking me for reminding her who she used to be. No pressure, no promises, just honest appreciation. I understood then that love doesn't always arrive as romance. Sometimes it arrives as respect, care, and courage to show up when someone lowers their guard. Christmas morning was quiet. Snow covered the streets, a fresh beginning. I imagined Rebecca at home, no longer crushed by silence, surrounded by warmth instead. Days later, work returned to its routine, but something had changed. Mutual understanding, a shared secret of humanity, made the office feel warmer. We maintained boundaries, but our hearts were wiser. This experience taught me something profound. Kindness doesn't need permission. Vulnerability isn't weakness. The bravest thing we can do is respond with compassion when someone silently asks for help. Life's miracles aren't always spectacular. They are quiet, subtle, transformative. Even after the holiday, our interactions shifted in small ways. Emails carried warmth, smiles lingered a second longer, and there was a new layer of trust beneath professionalism. Rebecca didn't need me to fulfill a wish with grandeur. She needed someone to see her, to be present, to offer humanity during a season that magnifies loneliness. And in answering that, I discovered a piece of myself I didn't know existed. Patience, empathy, and courage born not from authority, but from the heart. The accidental message that arrived at 11:47 p.m. wasn't a disruption. It was an invitation. An invitation to witness the quiet power of connection, to respond with genuine care, and to understand that sometimes showing up is the greatest gift we can give. And though the snow eventually melted, the warmth we created that winter remained. An unspoken reminder that small acts of kindness, even when unexpected, can change lives forever.